Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my channel. This is the tutorial for my large 6.5 by 8 3/4 garden journal album using Simple Stories Fresh Air. This one has the curved spine. I show you how to make this exact album here in the video, but I also went ahead and made a smaller version with the flat spine for those who might want to do flat rather than the curved. I show you how to do the spine. I don't show you the whole album. This is made with the same collection. So it is also in the tutorial, and I will have the cutting guide that you can click on and upload and print so that you can make either size. This one here is, let's see, what size did I make this? A 6? I've already forgotten. I forgot what size I made it. Let me look at my notes real quick here. It does have a 2-inch spine. It only has 4 signatures in it, whereas the larger one has 8. And it is journaling pages. I do have a separate walkthrough video so that you can take a look at both of these. This is for just the tutorial. This one here is a 5 by 6, so that's what I thought with a 2-inch spine. So let's get started with the tutorial. Let's go over the supplies I'll be using for this garden journal album that I'm going to show you how to make. In my design team package, I did receive the 12 by 12, 2 sheets of each of the adorable Fresh Air by Simple Stories. So you want to check that out at countrycraftcreations.com. I am using that. I have the sticker sheet, 2 each of the papers that come with that collection. So you can see them here. They're all beautiful spring-like papers. So use that, and to decorate with, I received the yellow, these Prima flowers, so we're going to be using those. I will link all these down below so that you will know where to find them in the store. So I'm going to put these back because I don't need them just yet. I'm going to put them back in my little bowl that I have over here to keep my supplies together. I also received the pack of page pieces for the Fresh Air, and I'll definitely be using those in my project to decorate with. Now, I purchased on my own, and I'm pretty sure I'll be using some of these. I love the sticker books because the stickers are so light and really blend in with your papers. So this I purchased separately. It's also available from Country Craft Creations. It's a sticker book. So I will be using this as well in addition to my design team package. So I did purchase this on my own, and I will link this down below also so that you can choose that if you want. I will be using a lot of this natural twine that's available from Country Craft Creations. I don't have the yardage yet because I haven't started yet, but I will add that in my description box below, how many yards I probably used for this. So you're going to want some of the jute twine that you can get from Country Craft Creations. I'll also maybe using some seam binding ribbon from Country Craft Creations. I'm not sure yet. If I do, it'll be the pretty spring colors, like the pinks and yellows and teals that you could use. So you probably have some that you've already ordered from Country Craft Creations. Whatever you can add in will work just fine. So let me scoot these over. You're going to need a chipboard. You're going to need 2 sheets of the heavyweight in the 12 by 12 or the 8.5 by 11. Because I'm going to cut these down, I will give you the measurements, and you're going to need wide score tape or score tape sheets for this. And then you're going to need your cardstock. I will be using the white artisan in the 65-pound. This is a lighter weight, but I'm going to be using that to wrap my covers and to make my file folder pages, which I will show you how to make. For sure, let me count. I needed 2 each for the covers, another one on the inside, that's 3. 5 page sets, 8. I'm saying have 12. 12 on hand should work. You can use the scraps for your pockets and your mats if you need that. So we got that going. The tools I'm going to use, of course, scissors. My scoreboard, I don't have it out here, but my scoring tool, a craft knife for your score tape sheets. I will be using a mitering tool. That's not necessary if you don't want to. I'll be using the 1-inch L spacers from Country Craft Creations, envelope punch board, but I will show you an option if you don't have one of these on how to make the file folders if you don't have an envelope punch board. Got my cutting mat, and of course I'll use a 12-inch trimmer, which are over here on the side. So bone folder, very important, and if you have a pokey tool for your score tape, and as always, you want to grab your your art glitter glue. I will be using that. And yeah, so let's get started on this project. First thing we're going to do is cut our chipboard. I've already done mine. I'll give you the measurements here on the video, and also down below you'll find a cutting list that you can copy and paste and print up to follow along with this video. So you need 2 pieces that are cut to, of the heavyweight chipboard, you need 2 pieces that are, grabbing my notes, 6.5 by 8 3/4. Score tape on the back, I used scraps that I had, so I'm going to use that. I've already wrapped one, you can see here, and I have cut the pattern paper that I'm going to be using on that. While we will cut these and put them together, we will not actually attach it down to our cover yet because we'll have to put our spine on before we do that. And that will be done later as I determine how thick a spine I need. So right now we're going to just wrap our cover pieces. So I've already done one. You will do 2 of these. So let's take a pokey tool. And what I do is, you can use your scoreboard for that, for placement guide. I just kind of lay mine out. And you do need 2 pieces of cardstock, that are cut 8.5 by 10 3/4 to wrap. So it's 1 inch wider on each side. So it's 2 inches wider, 2 inches taller. So use your 1-inch L spacer and place it in at the top and to the left, and then peel your backing off. Now, if I use the heavier Artisan, I usually just use glue, but because this is the lighter weight Artisan, the 65-pound, I want to make sure that there's not any glue lines showing. So I am using score tape sheets, and here on this last little edge, I just had a 1/4 inch tape on here. Okay. And then we just simply attach it down, butt it up to the spacer at the top and the bottom, drop it down, and we don't need this anymore, so I'm going to put that up in my toolbox here, and I like to turn it over and burnish with the flat side, nice and neat. Now, I'm going to be using a mitering tool. This is, you don't have to have this. It's metal, you can pick it up, and my craft knife. It's a bookbinding mitering tool. This is if you like to miter your corners. If you prefer the squares cut out, well, that's fine. Whoops, I'm kind of crooked there. Okay, so you do all 4 sides. You can also just use your ruler, your scissors, and cut that and leave. Sometimes if I use the scissors, I cut it in a little shorter, but if you're not careful, you can have some of your chipboard showing, so that's not a good idea. Okay, so don't need that now. Okay. Now we're going to just stand up the edges of a chipboard to get the fold there. One more of these. Go ahead and burnish them down. And for some reason, I like to do the 2 long sides first. Take your glue, take your art glitter glue or your adhesive of your choice. You can use score tape if you want to, but I like to put glue right along that chipboard, right onto the cardstock. And then my glue. Glob of glue there on me. Fold this over and burnish. Okay, I'm going to run it along the edge here and turn it around. Do the other side. Now this book is done a little bit different. It's not going to have your hard spine piece in the lay flat method, but you do wrap your cover pieces the same as you would for your lay flat. Now then, you take your bone folder and you press in where that comes over. Once you burnish that down, go ahead and glue and fold it over. Give it a good burnish. Same on this side. I've already pressed those in. Okay, glue. And burnish it down. Okay, so that is the cover wrap. So next we'll assemble these mats for the covers, but we will not glue them on yet. Once you have your two covers wrapped, go ahead and set them aside. We'll be using them later to finish up the album when we get to that stage. So for the mats, I'm going to give you the measurements, but remember you can always cut yours the width and height you want depending on how much margin you want. Let me grab one of these covers so I can show you what I'm doing. So for the first one, I want the yellow plaid, which is, you use the 2 sheets of this pattern. This is called, where's my strip here? Called Press Pause. So I'm using the yellow back side and of a sheet, and then also I'm able to cut this out. So you need 2 sheets for each, one for each cover. And so the first one is the yellow, and I made that mine 6 3/8 wide by 8 5/8 tall. So that's going to sit there and give me a white, pretty good white margin. Of course, I'll have to glue it on straight. Then I wanted a white mat behind this. So the white, the 65-pound cardstock is 6 wide by 8 1/4, because I wanted quite a bit of the yellow showing. And then this, because this is what I had left over, this was the width that I had left, 5 5/8 wide, and I cut it 7 7/8 tall. So what I'm going to do, and like I said, put your cover aside. You don't want to glue these on. I'm just gluing the mats together. So I've picked out my cover papers, and I know I'm not going to mess those up. I don't want to use them and then not have them. So I'm going to glue this one down first, and I just use my art glitter glue. That, get this out of the way, and kind of line it up the best I can. Let's see how much margin. It's probably got about almost a 1/4 inch margin of white showing. So get that on as straight as you can there and burnish that. Okay. And then this piece, the white, goes on top of the yellow. So I'm just looking to see how much margin I have there. And I use the glue on the edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the second one off camera. But I will have these ready, and I will put them with my cover ready to put on with my, I'm putting them with my chipboard cover pieces that are wrapped. That way I'll have these ready to go once I'm ready to assemble the cover with the pages. So we'll set that aside. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one off camera, and then we'll be back to start on our file folder pages. Okay, so I've already done all but one whole set, which I will show you so you'll know how to do this. We're going to make 4 folder pages. Each page has 2 tabs. And then we're going to make, for the inside, we're going to make a set of pages here out of copy paper or art paper, you know, whatever kind of paper you want, maybe coffee dyed paper, whatever you want to put in yours. I put 5 sheets in each folder, so that's 20. And then behind the folders, because we have a second tab, we have another signature of 5 sheets. So you need a total of 40 sheets of paper, copy paper or art paper that you make sure is the size is 8 by 10. So I'm going to go over that with you again, and then you need 4 sheets of the 65-pound cardstock for this. So I'm going to show you how to do the folders first, and then we'll do the pages, the papers next. So you're going to cut 4 8 by 12 65-pound cardstock, and you're going to score at 5 7/8. That's the tick mark, the 1/8 of an inch below 6, and at 6 1/8, that's the tick mark ahead of 6, so that you have right in the center, I don't know if you can see that, there you go, a 1/4 inch little gusset. Okay, so that is our file folder page. We're going to do 4 of these this way. Now then, we're going to take we can move the scoreboard out of the way. We're going to take the envelope punch board, if you have it, and I'm going to show you how to make the tabs with it, and then I'm going to give you suggestions, if you don't have it, on how you can do it. So you want to make sure your tabs are on the short side. I've messed up. A couple of times I did it on the wrong side. So the first one here, I'm going to place it. You see this little point here? You want the point on the edge of your paper for the first punch. This is your first tab. Then you're going to scoot it over to 2 1/2 and punch. Okay? That's that one. That's the first one, because we're going to cut away what we don't need. We want the next tab on the same side. So with your paper laying like this, flip it over. Now this one's down at the bottom, over here at the top. Put it in at 2. Punch. Slide over to 4 and punch. And that's going to be the tab on that. And they're reversible, okay? So that's all you need for this, for your punch board. You will do that to all 4 of them, exact same way. Then I take my portable trimmer here with the sliding thing, or you can just use your scissors if you want, or a craft knife and a ruler. But I'm going to put this in so that the dip is at my line. Make sure it's nice and straight. And I'm just going to cut up and stop, even if it's short, or stop when I feel that little tension let off. And then lift up, and I notice it's off a little bit, so I'm going to scoot it over a little bit, and then bring it over here and slice that second part off. Then I take my scissors, and if I didn't cut away enough, I just snip off some of it to kind of clean it up. And for some reason, my punch board, sometimes it's not cleaning my tabs the way I want them. So that's there. And the other side, the same thing, except it's going to be this little short piece and this piece down here. You don't want to cut your tabs away. So I'm making sure my dip is there. I'm just going to cut that little bitty notch. See that little piece there? Then come down. I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom. Just works easier. And then push it up till it stops. I can feel the paper is no longer there. And I did better with that one. Okay, so this is my last one. I'm going to show you how you fold it for both. You have one going one way and one going the other, so it'll make sense. So if this was the, going to have 4. If this was number 1 or number 3, you would burnish your score lines And I know that doesn't look right. You got to score and burnish both of them so that your tabbies are at the top. Okay, so if I stand up that little 1/4 inch, it's going to line up. There's my tabs at the top, right there. But for page 4, I want them the other way, page 2 and 4, so I just flip it over like that. So you put it down at the bottom. Okay, so that gives us our 4 like that. So we have 2 with them at the top and 2 with them at the bottom. Those are our tabs for our garden journal. So you could, make your tabs for different vegetables or your flowers, whatever you want to keep track of in this. Okay, so we have those. Now we're going to put our papers in. If you don't have an envelope punch board to make your tabs, you're going to have to make your own tabs, or if you have a tab punch or something, whatever you have to make tabs. This is a strip from the cutoffs that is 1 3/4 wide, and then I angle punch each corner, and then I will cut. You can cut each strip, each tab down to about 3/4 of an inch or an inch. Let's say an inch to make it have room to glue. So they're going to be 1 inch by 1 3/4, and you would cut your tabs, your folders down the whole length. So instead of the original length, you would have to cut them down to make this work, and then you would have to glue your tabs on in place evenly, and then cover that with patterned paper. But you could make tabs. You can make them out of patterned paper, whatever you want to do to make your tabs if you don't have the envelope punch board. So the finished width of each folder without a tab on it is 5.5. So you're going to cut off an inch, a ½ inch on each end. And then you would add your tab pieces here. Okay, so that's what you would do if you don't have an envelope punch board. And I put 5, with each folder, you're going to have 10. So let's see what I've got here. I'm going to show you how to do it. You take your copy paper. This is 8 by 10. You're going to fold on your longest side, the 10 inch. And I like to just line them up instead of using the scoreboard. Thinner paper like this doesn't score really well. Press down in the center and then just crease it out while you're holding that inner side. Okay, like that. So I already have some already done. Let's see how many I've got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 there. Where's that folder? That last one I did. So you open up your folder and you place them inside. This is where we're going to be adding our string to hold these in. So there's your folder. Now we need 5 more. 1, 2, I think I have. Yeah, 1, 2. This is number 3. Let's fold a couple of more. Number 4. You can put more in if you want. That's how many pages I had. I had a couple of extra pages, but didn't have quite enough for all of it. So they just kind of go in together. And it is better to do this 1 page at a time. If you try to do a bunch of them at once, it can get off. So you're going to have a neater fold. They're going to fit together better. Do one at a time. So make sure I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5. And this last signature set goes behind the folder, behind the second tab. So you have 4 sets like that. To pattern each folder, you're going to want 4 pieces. You want front, back, and inside. And I'm going to cut mine at 5 3/8 wide by 7 7/8 tall. So the first thing you're going to do is cut off the branding strip. So I'm putting this right at 12. I'm using this cutter to show you how to do it without using my big cutter. Branding strip. So with the direction that you're going to go, you want to make a cut, make your 5 3/8 wide. Cut first. And then you're going to cut at 7 7/8. So I've just had an idea. I'm going to check on something here. 7 7/8. Then we have this cutoff here. Don't think that's wide enough for with the pockets though. But we can use these, save these for your pockets. I think those will work perfect for the pockets. So cutoffs, set those aside. From this other one, you can get 2 out of a sheet. So cut again at 5 3/8. I'll turn this around this way. 5 3/8. And then you just have this one long strip. You can save that in case you can do belly bands or something. But turn and cut this again. That's, what did I say, 7 7/8. So I hope I cut the other one right. And again, save your cutoff for your pocket. So you would cut a total of 16 this way of your pattern papers that you choose that you want to use. So that would be 8 different patterns. So see how much you have. Hopefully we have enough to see. Like, I love this butterfly here. I'm going to use it. Right there, there's a sheet. The little sun. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Oh, the chickens. 6. And then our cutter parts are going to get into the cutter parts. So let's see which ones I like. You can double up on some of this. I love this color here. That's 7. Save 1 for your cutter parts. 7 and 8. So that's 8 prints that I got there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut mine. And then we'll be ready to add them on and do our pockets. So I'm going to cut all these. Remember your 5 3/8 first, and then your 7 7/8. So I've cut out my 16 pieces of paper that are 5 3/8 wide by 7 7/8 tall and put them together by folder. So I want 2 for the front and back, 2 for the inside. So I paired these little flowers with the sun and the clouds, the butterflies with this check, the pink flowers, these big flowers with this pink check, and the chickens with this plaid. So that's what I want to put on mine. So like this one I want on the outside, and I have cut them, and I'm going to make sure. So I'm going to take my insert pages out for now. Move this out of the way. I don't want to get it glue on anything. And I'm going to open these up to make it a little easier to put them on. And you'll notice I am not covering up my tab. I'm going to leave that so that it can be written on or put a label on there or whatever, if you want to put pattern paper on it later. But this pattern is just going to go on the front here. So all of these are going to be done the same way. I'm going to make the front and the backs the same. And the insides are going to be the match. Not the same as the outside, but the same on the inside. Let me do this one and I'll show you. So attach your paper down, line it up nice and straight. Okay, let me see here. I've got a little bit too tall up there. I'll scoot it up. There we go. Then burnish it down. So that is on the front outside, and then this one will match right here. So this is the outside of our folder. Love this paper collection. If you haven't ordered it yet, you might want to double check. If the collection kit is sold out, you can order, usually there's plenty of singles. So grab you 2 sheets at least of each pattern, and you should be able to go with that. Make sure we're not going over this 1/4 inch space here, and we're not going to add pattern paper to those. That's just a little bit tedious and overkill, I think. So that's the outside of the folder. So we're going to open it up, and I'm going to put this on the inside. And I'm not going to make you watch me glue all of these down. They're all done the same. Just pick your patterns, what you want to go together. You want your insides to be 2 of the same and your outside to the same. At least that's what I want. You may want yours all different. I don't know. So you do you. So there we go. We got the pink plaid. I love that pink. Okay, burnish it really well. Okay, get that glue to the corner. And then this one. So like I said, all are going to be done the same. Now, directional patterns, make sure, well, you should probably have lined your things up anyway. They should be okay. Make sure you're not doing them upside down. That's what I'm trying to say. Make sure your folders, you know. Oops, I don't want over there. I don't want over my 1/4 inch. This one I may have cut crooked. I always cut something crooked. Off a little bit. There, I think I got it where it works. Okay. Burnish it down, and there's the inside of our little page. Burnishing right here. Okay. Bring me some glue towards the edge. Okay. So there's that. That's the way the little pages look. And so this goes back inside just like that. And of course, we'll add our pockets later. Next, after we get all the pages done. So off camera, I'm going to glue all this down, and then I'll be back. To make our flat angle pockets, take your cut off scraps of your cardstock. These are 4 inches wide, and you're going to cut these into 4-inch squares. So cut, you can get 3 out of each cut off. So you need a total of, you get 4 folders, you need 8 pockets. So cut these down to 4x4s. And then I'm going to show you how I get them the same even size. If you don't have this kind of cutter where you can measure on both sides, then you can use your pencil and ruler and do a tick mark. So what I do is I take this, I place this corner on the 1 right here on my side, which is, that's a metric, that's 1. So it's at 3/8 of an inch. At 3/8 right there, that point, and then this point's going to go on the 2 1/4 line. And I cut. And they should, I've already done 2, be the same. Pretty close, okay? So this is just a scrap. You can just throw that away. So do all of them the same. Again, I'm going to put the point at my 3/8 mark on this point, and this point at my 2 1/4. Just kind of turn it, drop this down, and cut, and then double check. So that way my angle pockets are all the same size, okay? Then I'll have to figure out how to do it for the pattern paper, but for now, we got it there, and then pivot it to the 1/4. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep cutting these and get them all ready. So you need 8 for the inside of your folders. Okay, so I got the pattern papers on. Let's double check, make sure we got everything going the right direction. Luckily, most of this paper collection doesn't have a upside down, I guess you would say. So here's the first one. Of course, I can switch them around if I want. There's the flowers with that inside. So that's good. That's tabs on the top. There's my page sets behind there. Butterflies on this one, tabs on the bottom. So this is right. Got it there and there. I'm just making sure the front and the back are not upside down. Chickens, love me some chickens here. Of course, inside, that's okay. And the chickens are right on that. This is the tabs on the top. Tabs on the bottom with the sun's going in the right way. Yay for me. And the flowers are too on the inside, so that's good. So that's all of the page sets. That's the thickness we have so far. Okay, let's do some pockets, okay? So we've already cut these. Should be about the right size. I mean, all the same shape. Maybe off a little bit, and that's okay because it's not going to really matter. But we do need to cut our patterned paper. Okay, so cut your squares for your pockets down that you want to use to 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, okay? Let's get those all cut. So I'm going to pick these all out. Let's see which ones I want to use. Okay, let's clean this up. So you need 4 sets, 4 pairs. So that's 8. Yeah, 4 times 2 is 8. 8, 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So that's what we need. So I'm going to try to use the back sides of the ones that I picked. So like I didn't use this orange for the chicken. I really like the orange. So that's going to fit right about there. And I'm going to put a tick mark here and here. Let's see where that sits. So put the tick mark there. Now I could, because these might be different, I could be figuring out the numbers on this, but I'm just going to use tick marks on each one. I think that will work better for each one to make them fit. And then if I have to erase anything, I will. So let's see how that looks. So we need to trim off just a tiny bit more. Hope that's right. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to cut all these. Just measure with your tick marks unless you figure out your cutting point on each one, and then I will glue them all down. I'm not going to do these all on camera because it could be quite tedious, I think. So right quick before you get too far along, remember you've got to flip these over and glue this to the side. You need one facing the other direction when you mark and cut. This one I did wrong, and so I had to flip it over and grab another piece of paper and recut that one little bit, but I saved the day with the rest of them because I remembered. So you flip your second pocket over so that it's going the opposite direction, because remember it's going to be on the inside of the back of your folder. So you want one each facing each other like this. So go ahead and cut them. And again, I just did it with the ruler and the tick mark on there, and just go ahead and get those glued on. to your little pockets, and then next we'll put the pockets in. Okay, so I've already glued the pockets in these 3 over here. So here is the 4th one. So you open it up to the inside, and the wide part goes at the top. So I'm going to glue it in about 1/16 of an inch, or 1/8 of an inch, I mean, from the side and the bottom. So you want your glue on this one side and the bottom where the shorter side is. So then you just stick it on here about 1/8 of an inch from the side and the bottom here. I'm going to burnish that in really well. I love that plaid there. Flip this over. This one's going to go here, and I'll show you the others that I've already put in. So glue on the side of the top wide piece and along the bottom where the skinny one is, short piece is, and just place it in your book like that. Real quick, easy, flat little pocket. Looks really cute with the contrasting papers. So that's this back one, like that. And then we have the chicken one. And on it, I put the garden symbols in the navy. And then the butterfly one has the dots. Of course, you can do whichever pattern you want. And then the first one will have, the one with the flowers has the script writing like that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so those are the pages with the pockets in, and I'm going to put my thinking cap on, decide if I want to put any other pages in the book before we, I may want to enclose these in just some pattern paper. I'm deciding on that, and then we'll get ready to start making our spine pieces and getting these pages in. So I did have enough paper. I decided to go ahead and make a pattern paper cover for these extra page sets. So you need to cut 4, and I used matching papers. So cut 4 that are 11 1/4 by 8. And then you're going to score on your 11 1/4 side at 5 1/2 and 5 3/4. That will give us that 1/4 inch in between. So just fold on your score line, just like that, and then put your papers inside. So we got that. This goes behind the butterflies. So we have, let me show you. We have this folder, and behind it we have the lovely day with the roses in it. And then we have our butterfly folder that we just did, and the green behind it, flowers, the chickens. So the paper behind it is the back of the chickens, which is the orange. And of course the chickens are on the inside. And then we have the sunshine. For the sunshine, I did this pattern here on the inside. We got the dots, and so there's the covers for those. And it's optional if you want to put a pocket inside these. So it would be kind of cute to have a pocket right here. I'm going to look at my scraps. I'm thinking I maybe have some where I can cut squares and things. So I'll see what I've got, and then we'll come back and add those pockets in if we have enough. Pattern paper I like to use as much as possible. So we'll see what we got, and we'll get that done. To create square pockets, I went to my scraps and cut 8 that are 4 by 4. Now, if you don't have the scraps that size, you can also go to your cut-aparts, and these would be really cute too. These are 4 by 4, so like the chicken and these little squares. So there's several of those. You could do that. I'm going to use my pattern paper instead because I might want these for tuck it into some pockets and things. But I took these, and on each of them, I have 8, 2 of 4 different patterns. And so here's this one here. On the top edge, if you want a notch, and on your envelope punch board, I love to use it for my notches. You just put it at 2, because that would be the center, and then you have a nice, neat notch right there in the center of this flat square pocket. So we're going to take these pockets, and we're going to put them inside the patterned, not the folders. So I've got the folders here. So here's this one that we made, and I thought these would be pretty inside. So like, I'm going to glue one into the front inside and one onto the back inside. So I'm just going to put this centered about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And so each side, so it's a flat pocket. I'm not wanting to use up a lot of space. So I'm going to put these in each one that kind of coordinates. I think I was able to cut paper that coordinates these covers. Let me get this one in, and then I'll look right quick. Oops. Let's wipe that off. Okay. Whoops, that was not straight. Got to make it straight. It's got to look nice. There we go. Okay, so there's that one. So for this one, put that. This is the green. Let's see what we got. What is it? Butterflies. So yeah, it would be the green. The inside are butterflies. So that's going to go with that. I'm not going to I'm not going to make you watch me gluing these in. So this is the chickens. So it's going to be the orange plaid for this one. And then the last one, of course, is the sun. So let's see what we had to have the dots. So we'll put the dots in this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be gluing in, those pockets. So you just do them all the same. Just open up your little pattern cover here and just glue them in, centered from side to side, and about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Okay, so I have an idea of how I want to make my spine for my signatures here that I made. So I'm calling this the inner spine, and I cut one piece of cardstock, 65 pound, 6.5 wide by 8, and I'm going to put the 6.5 by 8. So I'm going to put the 6.5 in at the top, and I'm going to score at 1 3/4. Oops, 1 3/4. Get that straight. Then I'm going to completely turn it around to the other end of the 6.5 and score at 1 3/4 again. Now then, go ahead and fold that up. This section in between, it should be enough for the spine to attach these in with a little bit of space on the side. And these are going to be the wings that attach to the covers on the inside. So I'm going to burnish this really well, and I think the centerpiece here, possibly both sides, to strengthen it, I'm going to add some pattern paper. So we would want, from our cutoffs, our scraps of paper, so this section is 3 inches. So I'm going to cut these at 2 7/8 by 7 7/8. So I had 2 scraps that were just almost the perfect size. I cut them down 2 7/8 by 7 7/8. So they're running the different direction, but that's okay because this is the side, the non-directional side is what I'm going to put down on my spine. So we're going to glue one on the front and one on the back of our center spine section for our inner spine. I know you're probably thinking, what in the world are we doing? It's just an idea I had. I've never done this before, but I thought we'd give it a try and see. Just kind of make sure everything is lined up here a little bit. It's kind of hard, this white on white, so let me scooch it over. There we go. Burnish that down. Make sure these are between the score lines. Flip it over, and then this one's going to go on the outer side. It really doesn't matter which one goes inside or outside. You're not going to see that much of it, but the little bit that you can see, I thought the pattern paper would make it look nicer, and it gives a little more strength to the actual spine. Oop. Cannot see the score lines. There we go. Okay, so burnish that down, wipe off the glue. Okay, we've got it like that. So let me move my scoreboard out of the way. I also cut my string. I cut 8 pieces that are about 32 inches long each for each signature. Now I am using the twine, the jute twine that you can get at Country Craft Creations, because I wanted to use as much as I could from Country Craft Creations. If you have elastic cord, the real thin elastic cord, and you want to use that, you can do that. But this is what I'm going to use, and I like the kind of garden rustic look of this. So I'm going to take my first one, and I'm going to put it in this area here, and I'm going to bring my string around. Like I said, I haven't done this before. Put my pages in the center, put the string so that it's coming through all the way around the signature, the pages and the folder. So they should be even sized. Okay. And you want them to the outside of the spine. So I don't have mine. I wanted to tie them on the inside. That's my idea. So we're going to give it a try here. Push this right about there. We'll be able to straighten it up more as we get the pages in. So I'll wrap this around to the outside of that inner spine. Bring this in. Now, you could sew these in if you wanted to. I don't want to, because I want to make this as a journal that you can switch out your pages from year to year if you want to do that, instead of, you know, making new covers every year. Of course, you might want to do that. So that's an option. You could stitch these in like you do junk journals, and I'm just going to tie a knot. And yeah, I have extra string, and that's okay. That's what I wanted. So I'm going to trim these off the same for right now and just leave them like that. I may cut them shorter. So you see how it's to the outside of the spine here, inner spine, and then it's attached right there. So this is the first one. Okay, this is the top here, and it does move around, and that's okay, because it's all going to be fixed in there as we go. So this goes this way, and then we take our next signature, and she's going to go right up against that. So we do the same thing. We take a piece of string, wrap it around the outside here, bring it in. We're going to tie it to the center of the pages, like right there. Pull it as tight as I can without tearing my paper, and then do a knot. Use my finger to hold it down, pull the string through, and tie a knot. There we go. Oops. So then we have that one in. And you see my first one did move, so I've got to push everything back into the section here. So I may take, remember that removable tape I got in my other design team package before from Country Craft Creations, this Craft Perfect. Take a bit of it, and I'm going to kind of hold these down like that. So that's removable. So that's going to help me keep my positioning for these and get the rest of them in. So you do them all the same way. I'm going to do mine off camera. Just keep adding your next page section in, opening it up, wrap this string from the back, and tie it in the center. Okay, so I have them all tied in, and then I take them and I slide them carefully to space them out. So you want the one on each end here at about, a 1/4 inch from the side, and then these inner ones, just kind of space them evenly out. Whoops. They're going to be movable within reason. I mean, makes them fit in there. Once we get the covers on, they're going to be pretty permanent. This is not going to be attached down. This is going to be covered, or at least I think it is. Okay, so here's our wings. There's our pages. Got them all in. Now it's time to take our cover. Remember that we wrapped this cover. So this is what's going to go on the front and the back. So I'm just double checking, making sure everything works out fine the way I hope it to. It's going to be a little wider, taller than the actual pages. So I'm just kind of checking it, and it's going to go up to the edge. So let's see how we space them evenly. Since this is 8, the pages, these were 8, and this was 8 3/4. So it's going to give us about 3/8 of an inch or so on each side is where we want it. Okay. So got this laying here where I think I like them, and take my pencil, and I'm just going to place that 3/8 about right there, and I'm just going to put me a tick mark so I'll know where I want this. Let me line it up on this side as well. 8 thereabouts. That's about right. Yep. Put a little tick mark there. So that's where that one's going to glue on. Then I'm going to take this other cover. I'm going to line it up with each other. And I'm going to put the tick mark on the second one at the same spot. Okay. Fingers crossed this is going to work, right? Okay. So the glue is going to go on this flap here, away from the pages. So right here. And I'm going to put my glue on all the way around the perimeter and then in the center pretty good here. This glue is going to hold it. It's not going to go anywhere, I don't think. I think it's going to be good. Not too close to the edge. And I'm not squeezing right now. I'm just kind of spreading my glue out. Okay. Take my cover. Got the marks. I'm going to turn it so I can see the marks right there and right there. Okay, and make sure it's lining up even here on the edge. Okay, I know you can't see it. I'm making sure the edge of my cover right there is even with the fold of that flap, but keeping it where I wanted it on the ends. I'm going to bring it down now and burnish that down. Clean off any glue where I had to move it. Make sure that it's, yeah. Whoops, that one's off just a tiny bit. Before the glue sets, let's move it. Too much of the cover was sticking beyond the fold. There we go. That's better. Let's see how that looks. Yes. Okay. Just play with it quickly. Double check everything. Don't, don't let it glue down. I need a little glue under this pattern paper right here for some reason. It's pulled up. Okay. Burnish that down. Okay. We got that on. So now we're going to let that set for a minute and then we'll get that other one on. Okay. So let's get the glue. I know it's nerve-wracking sometimes to try new ideas, but that's the only way we learn what works and make things different and unique. So that's going to go about right there and there. I'm trying to keep that fold where I wanted it. Get it down, and then I'm going to quickly, before the glue sets, turn it so I can make sure, there we go, push that down so that it's even. Okay, and on those marks that I wanted. I'll push it down. Now I'm going to burnish it. So I've got glue right there where I moved, but that's okay. It wipes off. And we'll be covering that with pattern paper too. Okay, so let's burnish that. Double check. Okay, so there's the pages in. And again, if you need to, we will adjust as we need to. Okay, so there's that. Now we don't have our patterned paper on the front yet because this was the other idea I had. I wanted to kind of put a curved spine on first and then put our finished pieces on the front and the back. So let me grab me a drink, a Dr. Pepper, grab me a drink, put my thinking cap on, and decide how I want to do the spine. Okay, here's hoping it works for the outer spine. I cut a piece of the 65-pound cardstock. You need one piece that is 8 3/4 by 9. 8 3/4 by 9. So 8 3/4 is the height of the album. 2 pieces of pattern paper. I want it on the inside and the outside. I'm going to use the pink check here that I have. I cut 2 pieces of pattern paper that are 8 5/8 tall by 6 wide. So I just used the sheet, cut it in half and made it 8 5/8 tall. And then your score tape sheets, definitely you want to use score tape sheets. We don't want any buckling here. Cut 2 that are 8 1/2 tall by 6. So I'm going to get these on the backs of my pattern paper right quick, and then yeah, we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so I've got the score tape sheets on the backs of this. It's a little short here. It's okay. I can put a little bit of glue there. That was just the height of the score tape sheets. So I think that'll work fine. So we're going to take this piece here that's going to be our spine. And this spine section here, where it's not going to be attached, is 3 inches. Okay, and this is 9. Right. So I'm going to place a tick mark. Where's my pencil? At the 3 here, and then at the 6 right here, so that I know to put my pattern paper centered it over this, because you want the full center covered. So I'm going to turn it sideways though. And I'm going to peel this top piece partially down. Just a second here. Should have grabbed my pokey tool, but I got it. Okay, like that. And where it doesn't have any adhesive, just a tiny bit, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I'll try to put a little glue on there. I want to make sure it sticks so it won't warp just here on this little edge. This is the main part. I didn't want warping. Okay. So here on the side, I'm going to butt it all the way up to the, did I cut this? What did I cut this? Wait a minute. I cut it 1/8 of an inch shorter. So it's going to come in about a 1/16 of an inch from that edge. So I'll trace those paper marks and then pull it all the way down and burnish it down. Okay? I'll erase these little pencil marks. Burnish this. Okay. Now then, flip it over and I can hold it up and see, put a slight mark where I've got the pattern paper. Okay? Same thing. Okay, so grab the second one. This one needs a little more glue on it on the end. Peel this back, partial. Put a little bit of glue. There's no adhesive. Okay. And we're going to line this up again about a 1/16 of an inch from the edge. Right there. Bring her on down. There we go. And burnish. Okay, so we have the inside and outside patterned of this. And then it's going to have a slight curve, hopefully. Just going to burnish that in there. This is why score tape was important sheets, so that it doesn't have a buckle. It's not going to have much of a curve. Okay, so let's see how it does. Okay. So I'm going to lay this down and center this over it. So part of the pattern paper and the unpatterned cardstock is what's going to glue to the cover. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it, make sure it's centered. Pretty much where I want. Let's see, measure it. 3. 2 3/4 about there, and 3 there. So I'll move it this way a little bit. I'm just trying to make it even, about 2 7/8. Whoop. Do that 3. Okay, just about at 3. Not exact, but that's fine. As long as that center part is solid pattern paper. And I'm just going to put a mark here and a mark here. Pick this up. Line this up on my grid. And just a light pencil mark. So I'll know where I'm placing my glue. Okay, glue is going to go on this side here, on these wings. So I'm going to do one side at a time. I'll erase the darker marks right here. Don't want them showing. Okay. Okay. Yep. So we're going to do the back side first. And I'm going to put glue on the side that I have marked with my lines. Put glue. I'm going to keep it about a 1/16 of an inch or so, 1/8 of an inch from that pencil line. And then glue on the whole piece. I have made curved spines before, but they're always different. So this is the first one I've done with the pages already in. So wish me luck on this. I would hate to have to redo the covers. Okay, so make sure this is the spine section here. I'll put that line right there. Maybe I'll lay it down. Yeah, lay it down. Whatever is the easiest for you. The edge of this should go along that pencil line. There. And this should be the height of the page, pretty much. Okay. Carefully flip this all back. I'm holding it down here, and I'm just going to press it right here. There it is, bone folder. Get that done. Now I'm going to let it dry for a little bit before I move on. So I'm going to pause the camera and let this dry some. Okay, so I've let it dry for a bit. I have clipped it down. I'm stressing this, you've really got to let it dry good. Now we're going to get this other part on, and it may not line up exactly with the pencil marks. So what I'm going to do is I don't want to risk any pencil marks showing. So I'm just going to erase it and wing it. Okay, because, oops, gotta make sure my page stays where it belongs. Okay. Now, I want to make sure these pages are staying, these strings stay where they belong. I didn't remind you to do that before I did some gluing here. So there we go. I'm able to move that one up some. There we go. Everybody gets moved a little bit. Okay. Before we put everything in, I'm just making sure everything moves up. Okay, so this piece here, we need to allow for kind of flatness, a kind of a slight gap. You don't want it like that. Okay, that's too much. You want to bring it in enough that it's still curved, but it's going to let this page lay down flat. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to put glue along this edge here in a ways, because I don't know for sure where it's going to hit in here. So I want to do that. Get that glue on there. Pretty sure it's going to go that far down. And then I'm going to put glue on this part here. Whoops. Right here, especially that white part, and then a little bit on the pink, because I'm pretty sure it's going to hit into there. And then I'm going to stand it up. You may not be able to see this really good on camera, I'm not sure. But I got to line this up right up here. Okay. Line it up. Up, up, up. There we go. And I'm going to clip it. Put a couple of clips in. And then I'm going to press it down and get it lined up straight down here at the bottom too. Okay. And I may have to move this some here. Kind of slipped on me. That's okay. Go push it and get that glue pressed in there. So I'll put this side for sure. Here. Right here. Burnish it, burnish it, burnish it. And get this side clipped. And then, so that looks pretty good, both sides. And we want to really burnish it, and then we're going to have to let it dry. Okay, so I've got it bent. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to clip my cover to kind of form the shape with these lighter clips here. If you've got some clothespins, you could use those. And we're just going to let all this dry for quite a while. Because it's a wet glue, it may, you know, if you pull on it too soon, it may give a little bit, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll be ready to put our other decorative pieces on. And if you want a ribbon, you'll decide on that then. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to let that all dry. For those of you who might prefer the lay flat spine instead of that curved one, that I would show you how to adapt this project so that you can do the lay flat with the flat spine. So this is a smaller version. This is not the same size as the one this tutorial is for, but some of you might be interested in a smaller one, so I'll probably provide the measurements for this one in my description if there's room, or maybe do a Google Doc so that you can print it off both sizes. So anyway, this is a mock-up one that I'm doing. I'm going to finish the whole thing, but it's not for this tutorial. This is to show you how to put these pages in. And I didn't do the folders on this one. I'm just doing the little paper ones with the string but have the flat spine. So you would, if you're doing the size for this tutorial that I'm doing, you would cut your covers the same size, and then you would need to make a flat spine the same width as what I've given you for the inner spine. So, gee, I didn't write that down. Let me get my ruler out, and the spine area is 3 inches. Yeah, 3 inches is my spine area. So you would make a 3-inch spine by the height of the album. So I'm going to show you how to do that with this. So I have my pages. These are done the same with the 1/4-inch gusset, and we're going to use that string, or you could use elastic if you prefer. So I'm going to, I have 4 signatures here. I'm going to get my string cut. This is a smaller book, so I'm just cutting this off. So I'll get that ready real quick. Okay, so I've cut off the string. Now, if you're doing this lay flat one, I used patterned paper for my stabilizing section in here, and you want to make sure that it goes over the wings of the spine. You could use cardstock instead and then put a piece of patterned paper here, but you need to put your patterned paper in this section, and it really needs to come over a bit because your inner spine part is going to not be the full height. So you want it to be at least the width or longer, wider than this spine here. So this is in the original tutorial of this little section here, and so you make it the same. Make sure you have the wings here, you score it where it needs to be, and you put pattern paper on the front and the back. So this is where our pages are going to sit. So you take one string and you're going to wrap it around your inner spine like this, just exactly like I did for the main one, the bigger one I did. Take your first set of signatures, your pages and everything, and then you're going to, in the center, open it up, and we're going to tie this in a knot. So this isn't stitched or anything, it is just tied, and so you could do elastic if you want to stretch your, which is easier to switch your pages in and out. I can still change them out here with this, but elastic is easier. I'm going to double knot that just to be safe. And then if you want, you can tie a little bow, however you want it to look, or you can just trim the tails off like this. Too big of a bow, but kind of like that one. And then I just kind of trim these off. So that's the first one. Now you're going to have to make sure that it stays within the pattern paper. And of course we can slide this. So we're going to do the other 3 the exact same way. So if you want this one first, we're going to put the next one behind it. Grab this one, open it up to the center, lay it in there, and tie. So you're going to do all 4 the same. So this is exactly the same as what I did for the bigger book, or the one with the curved spine. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got all of them in. Now, if in threading yours, if you have any problems along your fold, because this is the lighter cardstock, you can put a little bit of gift wrap tape, the clear tape, on the edges where the folds are. That gives it a little more strength. You can do it the whole length if you want to, But you want to make sure your strings of your signatures, and of course in the big book there'll be more, there'll be 8, are within the inner spine. Now then, these wings that are folded like this is what's going to glue into the cover, and then that will keep our pages within the spine section. So let's do one side first. I'm going to put my glue on. And pay attention to my direction. I think this is my front side, should be. Front side, and this is the top of my book. Okay, so see where the fold is? That's where you want the fold of your spine, inner spine. And I'm putting it even top and bottom. And I'm going to press that down right there. And make sure it dries. And then this one will glue in on the other side. So that's going to leave it open in between the outer flat spine and this inner one. It's a little different, I know, but that's with the string or elastic binding for your page signatures. That's what you have to do if you're not stitching through the whole binding, or spine, rather, I should say. So then this should line up. Lift it up. Kind of have to fiddle with it a little bit here and get it lined up. Even. I have to pull mine up a little bit. I may have it crooked here. Okay. This one here, I thought I had it in good, and I had it up kind of a little crooked. So I'm going to reline this one here and this one here. Get this other one down so that it's straight. Okay. And then I'll re-glue the other one. So maybe it's best to put them both down at the same time. So now we're going to make sure we're got the fold here. And we still have the fold over here. Okay. And then you can kind of rearrange your pages just a little bit. You can slide from the top and the sides. There we go, the bottom, to make them more even. So that one's pulling up. I'm going to get that one done. I'm going to use some clips to hold my glue down until it dries, and then I'll get it evenly dispersed here. This side needs a clip. Oops. Okay, so clip that down until it dries. Make sure everything stays nice and dry. And then I'll show you finishing the inside. Covers front and back. And so that will be, that's how you would do it for a flat spine. So this is just an add-in bonus in case you want to do yours a little different. Okay, so the little flat spine is done. If you prefer the flat spine, you would do it this way. I went ahead and put my pattern papers on the inside, front and back of the covers. So you see your pages will lay down flatter, your cover will lay down flatter with the flat spine versus the curved one that I am doing for this tutorial. So it's totally up to you. I love the look of a curved spine on the shelf or something, and the different look the album has, but some of you may not want that. And if you notice the way this is done with the inner spine like this and the threading, you still have that space in there for your pages that are done with your elastic or your twine. So anyway, I'm going to definitely finish up this little album. I think it's really cute. I'm going to put some ribbon on it and finish it up too, and keep going with my main project here, the garden journal. So I've let my outer spine dry really well on my album, and I think it looks pretty good. I like the spacing here, whoops, that you see. And then I've been playing around with it, and I pulled this ribbon out of my stash. This is originally from Country Craft Creations several years ago. I think it was using one of a retreat kit or something, but anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful ribbon. I love the green because it kind of goes with the green of the color in the patterns. So I think I'm going to use that for my closure. So I haven't attached it yet. I will show you how to do that. So here is the album. Now I will say, oh, I'd also played with a temporary pen holder. I'll show you how to do that. It's not going to lay flat like normal lay flat albums, and I know that. I want this curved kind of look, but it will give me these pages like this, where it's pretty flat and you can hold it down really well. So let's finish the outside, add our closure ribbon, put on the papers. I've also been playing with some lace and some flowers that I want to do, and I found some papers I want for the inside. I'm going to cut a bigger white mat for that. And then I will be doing some decorating on my pages. And this album will be done and ready for some journaling of spring flowers. So let's do this first. So if you're going to put a ribbon tie on there, now you could use several seam binding. I've done that. I just really like this green, and I've already cut it to fit. But I'm going to take, I think I got a wide, you can use several strips of seam binding, not seam binding, square tape. But I do have an inch one here that I'm going to use. I have several different sizes. Okay, so the center of this, 8 3/4, so 4.5 is 9. Let's see, I can't do math. I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to put it at about, looks like about 4 1/4. 4 1/4 is 8.5. Just scooch it over a little bit. There we go. I still like it better right here. Okay, so I'm going to put my tape on. Now I am not going to attach the ribbon to the spine. I don't want it pulling on it or anything. I just want it on the cover, front cover, and on the back. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to center that right about there. You know, I always do better with eyeballing than I do with measuring. Whoops. Cut it about right there. Okay. So burnish that down. That's the front. And then we're going to put it also on the back. Make sure I've got it in the same location thereabouts. I'm just using my ribbon to get my placement. About right here. Okay, put this down so I can put it down straight. Okay, and snip that off. Okay, it's for the ribbon. So I'm going to pull this off and get the front one on first. Let's see here. Don't want to attach it just yet. I want to make sure I'm allowing enough to tie it. Okay, so that should be about right. So put that on as straight as I can. Press it down. Now the paper here, the matting will go over that. And then to bring this one around. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and tie it. This is a little stiffer ribbon, so it doesn't, tie like the soft seam binding, but I still just love the color and the big size of it, so I'm going to go with it on this one. Make sure you're paying attention to your direction. This is the front of my album, and that's going to attach down right there. Okay, so let's grab our glue. Okay, pay attention to the direction again. You don't want it upside down. So I got a little glue on my front there. Okay. So line it up so that it's straight, the top, and the sides, and even. I'm just sliding it around a little bit to get it to where I want it. And then I'm going to burnish that down. Looks like I need a little more glue right here on this corner. So just keep burnishing, make sure everything is down. You do see a little bit of that wrap down here or the spine, but it's not real noticeable to me. It doesn't bother me. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over now and attach the back one. So make sure directions are right for the flowers, like this. Okay, so again, let's put glue on the back. Put a good amount along the edges if I can, and then I'll just wipe off any that oozes out, but I want to make sure it sticks on really well. Put some right here along on this ribbon. Okay. Turn this so I can see it and line it up. And again, we want it to be nice and even from the bottom edges and the side here. So press it down, wipe off any excess glue. Okay. And give it a good burnish here. Such pretty spring paper. I really love this collection. Simple Stories comes out with some really pretty fun seasonal papers that are fun to work with and make your albums look really, really pretty. So I've got this burnished really well. Okay, now I've been planning some decorating on the front. I'm not going to put it on there yet. I'll be doing that later. But I did pull out so that you know. This is on the Country Craft Creations website in the store right now. It's Prima's lace trim, but it was for the Christmas market. But I love this white, so I snipped off a little bit of that I'm going to use. So if you like that or any kind of lace that you might have, of course, the flowers that I got in my design team package, I'm going to use 3 of the different yellows because of the yellow in here, but I wanted some pink. So these are from Country Craft Creations. This is also a Prima. Twilight is the Halloween line. I don't know if they're still on the website. I will look and see, but any of the Prima that you picked up from the store, and I wanted the pink. So I chose 2 pinks. So I'm going to use that on the front. This was the end of the ribbon that I had left, so I cut the dovetail notches. I'm going to somehow use that in with it. And then this pretty pink that matches the spine, and I will mat it to some of white, so I'll have a double matting and do an arrangement. So I'll do that later and show you, but I just wanted to pull all that out and let you know what I'm going to use. This was cut from scraps, so it is 5.5 wide by 8 tall. 2 of them. I had 2. So I'm going to use that for the inside covers along with some the white. So I'm going to get those cut and we'll put that on. For the inside covers, I've cut 2 pieces of cardstock, 2 pieces that are 8 3/4 tall, just a slightly 1/16 of an inch shorter than 8 3/4 tall by the 6.5 wide. So I'm going to glue this one to the inside, and you can see that the cover does not lay flat like you're used to with the others because of that rounded spine. But I wanted the rounded spine because I like the look of it on the shelf. So yeah, that is something you might want to take into consideration when you're making yours. So I'm just going to lay this on here, and it's going to fit right exactly. Push this page right exactly along the edge here. Oops. To finish this whole intersection off. We could have done that earlier, but I think it still works fine. And then this piece here, like I told you, I said 5.5. Mine ended up being 5 5/8. 5 5/8 scrap that I had, wide by 8 tall, and I like the plaid. And I'm just going to center that right there. Now, if you wanted to add pockets into your covers, you could. Look, flat pockets, I might do that with some of the cut aparts or scraps. It's totally optional. I would keep them flat so that the book closes up the way we intend it to. So we'll center that, finish that down. Okay. Love that plaid. And you do the back inside cover the exact same way. Okay, so I finished adding the pattern papers on the inside, front and the back. Okay, to make a pen holder, because it's a journal book, I wanted a pen holder in here. I took 2 pieces of scrap paper, 2 3/4 by an inch. I glued the two together and let that really dry. Then took my pen and just kind of shaped it around there. Get the rounded part. So now you have the rounded part and the two wings. And just wherever you want to put your pen, you can just glue it on the front page. So I'm going to put glue here. And then I'm going to go ahead and decorate the inside of my book. Just make sure that's straight and let it dry before you put the pen in. Now I'm ready to finish up this album. Here I have fast forwarded to show you how I glued everything down for the cover. So just decorate the front how you want to. I'm adding some lace here on the front. Like I showed you or told you earlier, this is the Prima lace. So I cut two of those flowers of the lace, glued it down on top of the matted pink check, and now I'm adding the ribbon piece that I cut. And I do just use the art glitter glue for all of my decorating. It has to dry for a little bit, but it gives me time to move things around if I want to. So I'm just arranging the flowers. I'm using 3 of the different yellow flowers from the Prima package and then adding in 2 Prima pink ones. Whatever you have that works with the collection is fine if you want to add the flowers, or if you don't, you want to leave your book plain, that's fine. I do like to decorate sometimes on the front. So then I cut some scraps of that lace to kind of make leaves, and I'm just gluing those here and there along the side to kind of bring out a little more of the lacy bits for this cover. And I'm going to put in a twine bow right here on the side made out of that jute twine that you can get at Country Craft Creations. Put in some more of that lace. And this all needs to dry. And then I'm also, as a final touch, adding one of the little tabs that has saying spring vibes on it. So that is how I did the cover. So now I need to let it dry. And I did do some decorating on the inside. I am not going to show you all the details of decorating. It's pretty simple. I used a combination of the tags, some of the jute twine, the sticker sheet, the stickers from the collection. I also added in some of the page pieces and bits and pieces that you can get that match the collection. What I did is I decorated my pockets and tucked tags in from the collection. Used photo mats to tuck in behind some of the elements. You see here on the front cover, I used the sunny days on the left. And then I decided to put little stickers and labels on my tabs to decorate them up. You don't have to do that. You can use them for what you actually want to write on them. On each of the white journal pages, I did add a sticker or an element or something on each page just to kind of decorate it up. So you see it there on the corner of the front one and as you flip through. So I do have a separate walkthrough of this video, and you can check it all out and see how it looks after I'm finished. But decorating is a personal thing, and I think you'll have fun doing it. It took me about an hour probably to decorate it all up, and it was really a lot of fun. So I'm going to wrap up this video for you, and I appreciate each and every one of you. That concludes my tutorial for these albums. For this one, I show you in detail how to make this one. This one was just to show you how to do the flat spine. But I love how everything turned out. I hope you enjoyed this. There is a separate walkthrough video so that you can watch, look at both of them in a little bit more detail. I go through it all. Be sure to check out countrycraftcreations.com for your scrapbooking supplies, the collections. Again, this is the Simple Stories Fresh Air. Beautiful, fun, spring garden type collection. I did use the 65-pound artisan cardstock, the heavyweight chipboard, Prima flowers, Prima lace from the store. This is some of the ribbons. She does carry different ribbons and lace, so you might not be able to find exactly what I use, but it changes, and I'm sure you'll find something that will work for you, as well as the jute twine. She does carry that. I will link all the products down below that I use so that you can easily find it, as well as the cutting guide list that you can click on and then go to my Google Docs and upload it so that you can print it and make either one of these or both, so maybe you might want both. I want to thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you'll catch me on my next tutorial video. And as always, have a great time. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.